All right, Eric Neller here, and this is a little presentation I made called What About WOTC? And I said I'm Eric with Maranatha Consulting, and this is part of the larger package of the Small Business Saver Framework. What we're all about at Maranatha is helping small business owners slash taxes, double profits, and retire rich. So, what about WOTC? What is WOTC? Well, let's have a quick look here. Work Opportunity Tax Credit. So it's actually a federal tax credit. It's available to employers who invest in American job seekers who have consistently faced barriers to employment. So employers may meet these eligible business needs and claim a tax credit if they hire an individual who is in the targeted group. We're going to talk more about who the targeted group is in a little bit. What it does, it creates a positive impact on the nation's unemployment levels. The average benefit per employee is $2,400. However, it can be up to $9,600. Obviously, it depends on the sector and the whole circumstance. W-2 employees, not 1099s, okay? And every year, employers have been claiming over $1 billion in tax credits under the WOTC program. So you have to ask the question right now, if you're not currently screening candidates, hiring, and claiming WOTC for your business, why? There's a few reasons why, and I'll show you. Here's the targeted groups, and I'm not going to drill into these. That rather long URL at the bottom from the irs.gov site, it'll actually expand each one of these by definition. This brings up one of the issues. How do you know? And how do the candidates know to qualify themselves to be able to be in one of the targeted groups? That's historically one of the challenges. I'm going to show you how that can be solved. But I can say also, I just heard a recent story about a woman who actually qualified for WOTC for her employer, but it was really weird because it was because she had brought her mother to live with her, who was going through some physical rehab from some medical procedures for a particularly long time, and it actually qualified her that year for WOTC. Interesting, right? That way the employer could actually get a tax credit because she fit into one of the targeted groups. Pretty cool. So here's the sectors that will benefit most often, and it's usually ones that have challenges attracting and retaining clients. First, I'm going to say who should be screening for WOTC. I'm going to say everybody. Every employer, every hiring manager should be screening, because why not? But here are some highlights. Manufacturing makes sense. Struggling to fill positions due to a lack of skilled labor, maybe. I was actually visiting one manufacturer recently here, and he actually inked a deal with a local technical school so that he would have top candidate access. He'd come in and do some teaching, and he was going to be able to have the top graduates of the classes and be able to potentially recruit them for his business, because tough to find good people. Healthcare industry is all over the place. The last couple of years, it's been crazy. So this is an opportunity to attract and retain some of the best in a diverse workforce. Retail, no surprise, especially here when it's seasonal or part-time and you're looking for a way to attract and find people and potentially keep them working on for the company outside of the season. Construction, I can tell you, after going through multiple storms and the hurricanes and things that have happened in Florida this year, that there is no shortage of construction work. There's a ton of turnover. There's tons of people looking for labor and help, right? And of course, food service, restaurants frequently relies on seasonal or part-time employees. Help these businesses to attract and retain a diverse workforce, which is important where customer service is key and people are connecting with the clients in a very close one-on-one atmosphere, right? These would be some top sectors that would benefit. But I'll say again, everybody should be screening. Let's look a little bit at the history. I want to point out here that started back in the 40s with the Veterans Preference Act of 1944, and look at through the 40s, all the way through the 70s, all the way through the 90s, there wasn't a lot of activity around WOTC. And it was centered around veterans, and then we expanded for ex-felons and welfare, and then there was those that faced significant barriers. And then what happened? Boom. The early 2000s and the largest recession since the Great Depression, or I'll say until this happened over here. We don't know what's ahead, but look at what happened after that. Boy, did they start regulating and dropping in all kinds of opportunities and benefits and making it more about job creation from the early 2000s all the way through where we are right now. And then we don't know how long it's going to be extended, but do you see it going away in the near future given the COVID-19 crisis response, as I call it? So again, it is a great fit for all employers, and that number, $1 billion a year, we expect it can continue. And so what about WOTC? Now, traditionally, WOTC screening companies that will help in the hiring process, they have some stipulations. They want to work with companies that hire 1,000 or more new hires a year. They take a fee of 25 to 35% of the tax credit or savings that the company is going to receive. And they also have some other charges like individual screening charges, quarterly filing charges, document correction. So really the companies that they want to work with, there's only 0.3% of the population of businesses that they really want to work with, because they kind of look at what's involved and they say, we don't want to mess around with the small to mid-sized businesses. So that kind of stinks if you're a small to mid-sized business, which, boy, 80% of the businesses in the U.S., the backbone of our economy, is probably going to be between 5 and 10 employees, okay? So if you're in that space and you wanted to screen for this, there aren't a lot of people that are servicing you. Got good news, though. Okay, this is also the traditional process. So here, a lot of it being on paper, hiring manager is going to the candidate and using physical documents, and then there might be some weekly or monthly HR paperwork gets submitted to the provider. Now the provider reviews it. If there's no questions, it submits the WOTC application, everything, to the state workforce agency. Now you only have 28 days to do all this, because the Fed doesn't make it easy to claim these credits, right? So this is the traditional screening process with all these people involved, physical paperwork, and you got to get it done fast, right? Well, the challenge is the manager must submit before the hire. You've got employee truthfulness. Are they being honest? Do they even know how to fill this in or answer it? And look at the time you have to complete it. So those are the challenges with this traditional large format WOTC screening process. Anything, as I mentioned, questions, boom, you go all the way back through the entire chain and potentially have to extend that time, may not qualify. So what do we do? Well, with Growth Management Group and Maranatha, the WOTC screening process, as you can see, is greatly compressed. Removing people and paper is going to expedite the process. And you see those big number 1 and 2 at the bottom here. Now the employee, as part of the screening process, is going to be able to fill this out, and they're told, the information that you provide will not be shared with your employer, but you got to be truthful under penalty of perjury, because we're asking these questions for a reason. So, boy, does that speed things up. Look at all the steps are taken out. So challenge is solved. Now, any number of hires, so from 1 to X, doesn't matter if you're hiring 1,000, if you're hiring 1. The fee, only 15% of the realized savings from the tax credit, and a flat monthly software subscription. How much? Somewhere typically between $9 and $29 a month, depending on how many hires you're having. But no individual screening costs, no monthly or quarterly paperwork costs, none of that. And even if you're hiring, so if you hired 1 employee and it was worth $2,400 to the business, and you were paying $9 a month for that screening software, I think you come out ahead. You see what I'm saying? So what's next for your WOTC? Well, activate your subscription, screen 100% of your candidates, select the most qualified. I'm going to pause here for just a moment. It's not a guarantee once they fill the paperwork out, it's going to show that they are probably qualified. It's still up to the state. But since we have a combined close to almost now 20 years of experience doing this, we have reasonable probability they're going to be qualified. It's also not the only decision you're making. It just gives you that information point, right? That data point that says, wow, if I have 3 candidates, all of the things are equal, but this candidate could particularly give the business $2,400 or $9,600 in tax credits. Why wouldn't I hire this one, right? So you select the most qualified candidate based on your entire criteria, and you just enjoy your WOTC benefits, because now you know no matter how many you're hiring that you too can enjoy the tax credits from WOTC. So as a bonus, once you're in the tax management software with the subscription, you're going to learn about all other programs that are available to you based on your industry and location. And that's basically it. You can go to maranathaconsulting.com/WOTC, WOTC. Just hit that website. There'll be a link wherever you're seeing this, and you can start filling the information out, figure out what level of subscription you need based basically on the number of hires. And like I said, between $9 and $29 a month gets you started. Cancel anytime. It's month to month. Just cancel by the 15th of any given month before the next month, and you're set. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, a little bit more about what is up with WOTC and what can it do for you. Eric Neller here with Maranatha Consulting. Look forward to helping you get millions back to Main Street. Stay blessed.